All right. I want to go over some arm wrestling musts. Not everything is going to be listed in here, not because it's not important, but or that it's a must, but because it's might be kind of a given. I'm doing things that not everybody knows how to top roll. You're not going to meet anybody that doesn't top roll, right? But you will see on this list some, or so we'll. All right, shoulder commitment. Some people just some armor they just never commit the shoulder. It is all outside, all hook drag, right? All top roll. Sorry, but you should know. Like, there's no getting their shoulder behind their hand and no going inside. Some people just don't do that, right? It's just that's not what they do. So you can't be like that. If you want to be on the upper level, you have to be able to commit that shoulder, right? At all points during the match. The flop wrist. If you don't flop wrist your wrist, if you don't flop wrist your wrist, if you don't flop your wrist and know how to use that to keep space, right? Because if you picture if you're here and they go to push you, instead of moving your arm and losing that space, you can kick your wrist back and not lose your center space and then get shoulder commitment. So again, 100 reasons why you would want to flop your wrist. So if you're against it or you don't like doing it or whatever, you're never going to be elite. Sorry. Slip expert. You have to be able to slip with extreme conviction and against people with great hands. Milo, shout you out. We both arm wrestled the same guy. He got pinned by him. I was able to get the slip, right? This guy had a ridiculous... I have a mark on my thumb that was where he was torquing and just ripped skin. But I got out, right? And that's something that if you can't slip like that, you can't claim that you're elite. Sorry. The hook drag. Some people don't hook drag. And the hook drag is like the precursor to the next one. So if you don't hook drag, you probably won't King's move. They're very similar. Hook drag is just where you get to keep your cup, but you still just, you're straight armed. Hook drag and King's move, they're straight arm wrestling. You have to know how to straight arm wrestle if you're going to be an arm wrestler. Hey, straighten your arm. Well, then fuck you, dude. I do. The re-hit. Think Dennis versus Saplinkov. If you can't do that multiple times, right, and if you can't machine gun it like that, people who are statically stronger than you will always win, right? Like some people where we get locked up, I'll just start rocking, right? And if you don't know how to time the rock to re-hit or rock it back, you're just gonna get allergies. You're just gonna get destroyed on that one too. Which also brings you to the hit on the go. If you don't have a fast patang, you don't got something that you can do in under 0.2 of a second or something like that. When somebody goes go, if you're just slow on the go, you're never going to be elite. Sorry, something you can work on though. It's not a thing. Fouls to get restarts. If you don't, if you're not a rule manipulator, I guess that's what a lot of that could be put into. If you're not willing to do stuff like that, never going to be elite. Sorry, because you'll lose to somebody that will, right? And like the whole reason of this list is that if you're completely even, except that, right, on somebody, say like you and this guy are exactly the same, except you don't do that, or you don't do this, or you don't do that, he's going to win, right? Like, because when he will get into a position where they can use one of these when you're not. So this is why I'm saying, if you want to be elite, you have to do all of these things. I could do all of these things. All right. I think it's the last one, so we can stop with the thing. Watching film to know styles. Okay, right? Again, we had a tournament, and there was this dude who had a ridiculous... He would just yank back and then go to the side, right? But he didn't do it he did it in two motions. It would be come back. So he liked to really secure his back pressure and his hand to his elbows to his chest before he did anything. And I was just like, I know this guy, Milo, just go forward, right? Just flop press right into his back pressure. You'll take his hand, and by the time his elbow touches his hand will already be at the pad. And that's exactly what happened. It was beautiful. But I knew, because this guy had a very particular style. He was like, oh, fuck, I don't want to. He was one of these guys. And he couldn't really do anything else. And once, Milo's way more versatile, got that press and was able to just go right through him. So, and, Milo was like, I rarely beat this guy. And I'm like, yeah, well, because at the time you were just doing this, right? You all this, and you were never beating a guy. And then we just go that, and now you're beating him. Right, and this is, again, the difference between no stone unturned, and why I feel like eventually I will become the number one guy, just because my list will be longer. And when we start going down the progressions, right, like their list might just say do more roids, right? And I'm going to have 16 pages that go down like this of fucking things that I can do when stuff gets rough, right? So, it's the beginning. This is the vast majority of it. I'll probably, I'm sure I'll add a couple things here and there as I work on it. And I'll probably, maybe even redo the whole list with videos and showing, yours truly doing doing all of these and how they can work in a match. Alrighty. Goodbye, everyone.